All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And again, I've been going through a series of video presentations for the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases class. Rather than starting with our book, I've decided instead to start with this 12-lesson series from DotNetOdyessy.com called ASP.NET MVC5 free course. So far I've gone over Chapter 1, where we talked about web development and got an overview of ASP.NET MVC, and Chapter 2, where we built our first application, albeit an unbelievably simplistic one. Now we're jumping into Chapter 3. And as shown right there in Chapter 3, what we're going to do in here, this is fixing the author stuff, is talk about views. Views, again, are the actual stuff that is presented to the end user. All right? Most of the time, as it says, HTML content will be used. We'll also talk in this chapter about the Razor engine. And with the Razor engine, what you're going to notice in just a couple minutes is we will create a file, and that file will end with a .cs HTML extension. It's almost going against this separation of concerns in that what that means is it's an HTML file that can actually include C# code. That's the key thing about Razor. All right? So let's jump right into it. A little longer than the previous chapters. All right? The author says, in the last chapter we saw basically we built a very simple little application, but it's time to get started with our regular application that we're going to create. All right? It says we'll try to replicate the popular movie website IMDb. Now, I do want you to understand right from the get-go. In fact, let me close this. All right, so I'm going to literally put that in. Movie website IMDb. All right? What that has is it's got most movies that have ever been or are going to be. Notice there's a summer movie guide, etc. So if I wanted to know something, let's say that I wanted to find out something, I don't know, about, it says find movies, TV shows, celebrities, and more. Okay? And let's say that I wanted to find something out about, I don't know, we've got Aladdin there. How about Aladdin? But we don't want that one. We want the one that came out in 1994. All right? So I click on there, and notice what it gives me. So we're not going to have nearly all of this stuff. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? All right. So our IMDb will have a list of movies, and it'll allow you to search those movies by either the name of the person, you know, of an actor's name. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. By the name of the movie or an actor in the movie. So what we want to do is we want to create a new application. All right. So it says, so we're going to call this micro IMDb, but I'm not going to put a blank space in it like they have. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to our friend here that we've been working on. So I'm going to do a file, save all, and a file, close solution. Okay, so let's come in here and do a file, new project. Again, an ASP.NET web application, saved to the desktop, no Git. And it's micro IMDb, but no blank space. So micro IMDb as though it was one word. Click OK. All right. And let's see. Select empty and create the project. And then we want to create a new controller that is going to be called, I believe, movie or movies controller. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just catch up. Empty, but choose MVC. All right, empty, MVC, click OK. When it comes up over here, and I did not change, so in this particular example, the name of my project is the same name as the solution is the same name as the project name. Okay? All right. So I want to right mouse click on controllers, choose add, choose controller. All right? That should catch me back up here. There we go. We want empty and add. And we want to call this movie controller. Again, as I already mentioned to you, you should not remove the controller name. Okay? Now they say V1 here, and I guess I don't know if I put that in or not. It's not going to be a big thing one way or the other. All right, so let's just jump back into here. Empty, click add, and we want to call this movie. I believe it's singular. Movie controller. All right, and click add. Again, in here we will now see movie in here as a folder, as a file, moviecontroller.cs, and we also have a folder in here that's currently empty called movie. All right, so the difference is mine is micro IMDb, and the one they did in the book is micro IMDb v1. It's the same thing. All right, so it's generated our controller, and we already went over in the last chapter what this stuff here means, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Okay, there are a few things that should be noted in the code above. All controllers derive from the controller class. That's why all controllers have :controller at the end of them. That's just normal. Second, the name of the controller should always end with controller with a capital C. It says as ASP.NET MVC selects it based on that naming convention. Third, the index action method is generated for us, even though it really doesn't do much. All right? In the Hello World in the last chapter, we changed that from action result to string. Now we're going to actually return a view. All right? How do we do that? All right? The easiest way to do that is to go back into your project. You can do it anywhere in here, but we want to basically create a view that's going to be called index. All right? So what you'll see when we get done is inside of this views folder where we have the movie folder, there will be an index file in just a minute, an index.cshtml file. So I'm going to right mouse click on here, and I'm going to choose add view. Whoops. When this comes up, if you've never heard this before, when this stuff comes up like this, what it means is this is the last video that I created, and I've got it saved now in an MP4 format, so I'm removing it or just deleting it from there. Okay, so I'm going to right mouse click and choose add view. By default, it'll have the same name, so it has the name index, which probably is what we'll want to save. Right mouse click, select add view. Okay, that's what we just did. We want index. We want empty without model. It says the name of the view is index. I'm not going to change it. It'll create the view file. Okay. Now this shows right here. It says you'll get the template options for creating view. Now it says here for use a layout page. It's not checked right now. All right. Uncheck the use a layout. Okay. So we want it to look just like this. Index empty, nothing checked. Now ours may look a little bit different. If it does, don't let that throw you because it has changed over time. Index empty without model and no use a layout page. So click add. notice in here we now have an index.cshtml file. CSHTML, again, the extension means C# hypertext markup language. Anytime we start something with an @ sign like this and end it like this, we're writing what's called razor code. This means since we say layout equal null, we have no layout file that we're using right now. That's all that that means. All right, I'm at 10.5 minutes. I don't want to go too much further in this particular lesson. So it's the extension of the file. Okay, we have not yet discussed the model, so we'll leave that empty without model for now. Yes. All right, we uncheck the layout page. It says I have added the words to the default HTML generated movie list highlighted in blue. So we're going to put this in here. Under this div, we're going to add movie list. We're not changing anything else in here. So let's come back here. In this div, we're going to put in here movie list. I think, again, it was singular and not plural. Movies list. It is plural. All right. Movies list with a colon. Now we can run this, but the easiest way to run this is to right mouse click on our CSHTML file and choose View in Browser. And that's going to bring our project up again in here. And I think all it's going to say is movies list. There it is. Not much to it right now. All right. And rather than going in here and explaining right now what everything in here means, which is what I'm going to do that in the next lesson.